Today we're going to take a look at Gina Carano and the real reason why she was fired by Lucasfilm and Disney Plus. And how does cancel culture fit into all of this? Here at the Christian Geek. Hi guys, my name is John B. and this is the Christian Geek, where we take a look and explore geek culture and how it relates to faith and Christianity. So today, we're going to talk about Gina Carano. And if you don't know who Gina Carano is, what rock have you been living under? Gina Carano is one of the biggest stars right now. Especially, she has actually appeared in some of what would be considered geeky movies like Deadpool and recently in the TV series The Mandalorian. Her character, Cara Dune, is wildly popular and has actually caused the idea of having her spin-off show, and many were looking forward to it until recently when she was fired by Lucasfilm and Disney in the past few days. So we will take a look into that more and what is the real reason why she was fired. She was fired recently because of a social media backlash over her posts and tweets that has caused a lot of controversy and scandal. And in fact, a lot of people are saying that her posts were anti-Semitic, they were racist, and overall, it did not align with the values of a lot of people in Hollywood and in mainstream media. And so the hashtag #FireGinaCarano started trending on Twitter, and there was a lot of backlash, a lot of negative ideas on the tweets that she had shared or she has been posting. So we'll actually take a look into that a little bit further, but let's take a look at the response from Lucasfilm. In fact, this is what they said. In the past few days, they reported that Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm and there are no plans for her to be in the future. Nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their culture and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. So very harsh words if you think about it. They accused her posts to be denigrating against people of different cultures and backgrounds, and basically they were saying it was abhorrent, it was awful, that it was something that she shouldn't have been doing. And with that, it's not just Disney Plus and Lucasfilm that parted ways with her. The agency that's carrying her, UTA, has also parted ways. In fact, it is said that they actually have been looking for a reason to let go of her, and the recent social media post was something that they decided was the last straw, and so they decided to let go of her. So now, you know what? She has now been fired from both her agency and from the TV series The Mandalorian. And effectively, it feels like she has been blacklisted from Hollywood. And I think this is where, I believe cancel culture comes in, because with cancel culture, whether you believe it or not, it really exists. Whenever a star, a celebrity, or anyone actually does something that goes against mainstream media, pop culture, what the majority of people want, you can get canceled. Basically, have your show canceled. You as an artist can get fired, etc. And that is the kind of culture that we are living in right now. So the reason I'm bringing up cancel culture, because I wanted to take a look at the posts that she shared and whether or not it really is denigrating to people. Was it really biased? Was it really racist? Or is it just a figure of everybody's imagination because her posts go against the tide of other opinions? So this was I have researched this, and this is the post that she shared on her account. If you can see here, this is the original post that she shared, and what it says on On it, she says here, Jews were beaten in the streets not by Nazi soldiers but by their neighbors, even by children. And there's an attached picture of children harassing a Jewish woman. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views? So, if you were just going to take a look at this at face value, it's really not anti-Semitic. It's really not racist. It's really just trying to make a point, comparing the Holocaust situation to hating your neighbors. And with the current situation, I guess, in the United States, and even here in my country, in the Philippines, there is a strong divide between those who are pro-government and those who are anti-government, those who are for one party versus another party. And it's come to a point where if my views do not match your views, then, we can't be friends anymore, which is utterly ridiculous because, culture thrives on diversity, right? Even in the United States, diversity is very, very important. It's a melting pot of different cultures, of different nations, different ethnicities, different beliefs. And so if there is only one belief, one culture, and everybody has to align towards that one belief, one culture, one idea, then, you lose your diversity and there is no longer a difference of opinion. There's no, you are stuck to, you're being forced basically to just think about that one thought or one ideology. You look at this photo, you look at this post, and I don't really see where it's being racist, where it is being denigrating against Jews, right? And if anything, it points its finger against the Nazis, against the government, and the kind of brainwashing that was involved with the people, right? How the government brainwashed the people to think that Jews were the scum of the earth. And she's saying that, in this post, she's saying that, isn't that the same way when we hate on our neighbors for having different political views? Remember that not everyone will share your views and there will be differences, but that's okay as long as we can work out those differences rather than fighting and getting angry, right? Another tweet from last year, which had been controversial, and I also pulled this up, and probably what is said to be one of the reasons why UTA, her agency, dropped her, is this one, where it says, "We need to clean up election process so we are not left feeling the way we do today. Put laws in place that protect us against voter fraud. Investigate every state. Film the counting. Flush out the fake votes. Require IDs. Make voter fraud end in 2020. Fix the system." And again, I don't see what's wrong with this post because it talks about fixing a system. Even if you don't believe that there was voter fraud, and you don't believe that there are any errors to the election system, you can always improve it. And this actually talks about improving the system, making it so that people will feel secure that their votes were protected, that the election system was protected, And I don't see anything wrong with that. Why would that be wrong? But, again, cancel culture, they're so quick to judge. They see this post and they automatically assume that, hey, she's calling for she's saying that there's voter fraud. She's saying that the Democrats robbed the election, etc., etc., etc. That's really jumping the gun, I think, and really jumping beyond what really is the intention of this post. Now, I'm not saying that she's a saint. I'm not even saying that we should all be listening to her. But what I'm saying is she has a different opinion, slightly, quote-unquote, edgier, quote-unquote, more controversial than most other people's opinions. But it's not really, I wouldn't even say that it's offensive. I can't find anything offensive by what she said. There's really nothing wrong with what she said. In fact, she is... I guess I would say that she is trying to provoke thought and more of a thinking of what is really going on with society, culture, government, etc. And so I think I really don't see what the problem is, except that her views do not align with I guess a progressive or a liberal mindset, and that's really really sad. I would say, where we live in a world where we cannot respect other people's opinions, other people's political beliefs, and it's not even not nothing that she said here is morally or ethically wrong. I think they are, and she's entitled to her own opinion. And just because of that, she's fired. She's removed from the job that she's been doing, a job that she's actually been doing well, so well in fact that there was plans for a spin-off for her character. So what's going on? I think that's really where we have to see here that sometimes maybe we're doing too much. Maybe we're insisting that everybody follow what we believe in rather than listening and coming together. But there's a twist, and as stories like this always is, she wasn't just fired, but actually she found new job. She found um, a new employer. So, and it's crazy. And this is the ironic part. So if you know Ben Shapiro is a conservative Jew, an Orthodox Jew, who has some very strong conservative views, and he has decided to get in touch with Gina Carano and offered to make a movie. I believe it's a movie where she would be producing, and starring in it. And this definitely is amazing, right? In fact, it's so funny because she was she just got called racist and anti-Semitic, and here comes a Jewish person who comes here and wants to support her, wants to give her a voice. So in essence, though Gina Carano was cancelled, she is now uncancelled, right? And she even gave a statement that um, you only get canceled if you allow it to happen, and she is definitely not allowing it to happen. And I think it's kudos to her that she really wants her voice to be heard, and that she will continue working in this, and she will not be bullied into something that she does not agree in, and that's great. I'm not really saying that she's perfect and all. She mentioned even in her tweets that uh, she hasn't even attended church in more than a decade. So we know that she's not really, a Christian or a believer, but those values that she espouses, the things that she's trying to push for, I think I can get behind them. I'm not completely in agreement with some of her tweets. I saw some tweets that I think was a little bit more aggressive than it should be, but at the same time she is entitled to her own opinion, and as long as she's not really being completely offensive with what she is stating, posting, etc., I don't think it is. I really don't see anything offensive with that. If somebody got offended, well, maybe they're just a little bit too sensitive. I don't know. But this whole debacle, this whole drama, it just really reminds me of what the Bible says. um, in First Peter chapter 2 verse 12 to 17, it says, "Live such good lives among pagans. Though they accuse you of doing wrong, they may see your good deeds and glorify God in the day he visits us. Submit yourselves for the Lord's sake to every human authority, whether to the emperor as the supreme authority or to the governors who are sent by him to punish those who do wrong and to commend those who do right. For it is God's will that by doing good you should silence the ignorant talk of foolish people. Live as free people, but do not use your freedom as a cover-up for evil. Live as God's slaves. Show proper respect for everyone. Love the family of believers. Fear God and honor the emperor." And this is an amazing passage that Peter was writing to the Christian believers, and I think specifically these were Jews, no? But the Christian believers, he was saying that we are living in this world. We are living amongst non-Christians, unbelievers. But we are being told that we have to live good lives among them, among those pagans, among those unbelievers. We are to live such good lives that our lives are a reflection of who God is. It's so good that though they may accuse us, it says here, though they may accuse us of doing wrong, they will see our good deeds and glorify God on the day He visits us. And so I think this will happen whenever our views do not align with current society, current culture. If our views do not align with them, it doesn't mean that we are wrong. It doesn't mean that we are even told that we should stand firm on what we believe in. But it should be something that should show that we are glorifying God and that our good deeds are for Him, not because we are being self-righteous. In fact, it says that we are to submit ourselves for God's sake to authorities, to the emperor, to governors, and those all of these people. And even if they are the ones persecuting us, we are to submit to their authority. And I think the Bible is also clear, we should submit unless these authorities tell us to do something that is against what Christ is telling us. And so it says here, for it is God's will that by doing good you should silence the ignorant talk of foolish people. And people are going to talk always. This is so common. But what I can tell you is that when we do good in the sight of the Lord and we are blameless, even though they accuse us, even if they tell us what is right and wrong with what we are doing, in the end, God will protect us. God will protect our reputation. God will take care of us. And, our actions will be a reflection of who we are. Peter, if you read the chapter of 1 Peter, it really talks about living peaceably with other people, making sure that through our lives we can embody Christ's likeness, so that when people look at us, they don't see us, they actually see Christ in our lives. And that will silence people of ignorant talk and foolish behaviors, that it will glorify God, so that even if they accuse us, they will see Christ in our work. And so it says here we are to live as free people, but not as a reason for us to sin, but more because we are free of judgment. We are free of accusation and persecution because we know that we are following God's will. And at the end, Peter says that we should show respect to everyone. We should show love to the family of believers, fear God, and even honor the emperor. And remember, during this time, they did not really like the emperor. They found that the emperor was someone who was opposed to their beliefs, opposed to the God of Israel. And so they were not really happy to do that. But Peter says otherwise. Peter is saying that we should actually live a life that is glorifying to God through our actions. And so that means being subjected to their authority, being humble enough to take criticism and feedback, even if it is unmerited, even if it is untrue. And that the way we should respond is not through anger, not through hate, but through love and respect. And so I think at the end of the day, that's really just the thing that we should do. We as Christians, we will also encounter a lot of persecution. We will also encounter a lot of backlash against our beliefs. But one thing that sets us apart is that even if they say, even if they insult us and say something offensive against us, we have God. We can live peaceably with them. We will try to understand them. We will try to respect them as much as we can. And God empowers us to do that, because no human being, I guess, is sane enough to actually do that in the face of their enemies. And going back to Gina Carano, I guess one of the things I can say is that, looking at her tweets, she is just living a life that she believes is morally upright, and she is not trying to be offensive. She is not trying to be racist. I don't think that there's anything offensive in her messages, and I've seen people who have been who have tweeted, who have posted things on social media that's so much worse, that is so much more offensive, and yet they have not been cancelled, mainly because their views probably align with what the current society or current culture dictates. Right? So I think the lesson here is we should really respect other people's beliefs. And even if they are in the wrong, even if we believe they are in the wrong, we should not point it out. We should, rather than understand, love them, and try to seek a middle ground. And perhaps through our actions, we can point them to the right path. And in the case of Christians, point them to Christ. Alright, so that's just my thoughts and opinions on the current situation with Gina Carano. I'll be following it up, seeing for updates, because I'm really interested in what's going to happen with her, and what's going to happen with the whole situation. And I do hope it turns out well. And that, I think what Ben Shapiro's doing, especially that he has offered her a position in the Daily Wire, it's going to change a lot of things for the voice that there is available in Hollywood and in the US. And hopefully that there will be more diversity, and I think that's a good thing. All right, so that's it. Again, this is the John B, and you're with the Christian Geek. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell for notifications so that you can get updates on the next video. All right, see you soon. Bye bye.